Hi everyone, welcome to our Day 1 and Beyond hands-on series. Today, we'll be demoing how to load the Autonomous Database with Data Studio. In today's live lab, we'll learn how to create an Autonomous Database, create a user, load from local files, load from cloud storage, link to data in cloud storage, and create a notification-based live data feed from cloud storage. Now let's get started.
So first thing we'll need to do is provision an autonomous database. So here we see we're going to be using this movie stream database, but if you don't already have an autonomous database, click Oracle Database, click the autonomous database, click Create, choose one of either data warehousing or transactional processing for your workload. These have other uses, but these are going to be the most simple, easy to use, and they will work with the lab. If you want to use always free, check the box. And if you don't already have some always free databases on your tenancy, there are limits to how many free ones you get on your tenancy. Then you can check this. If not, just leave it unchecked. Database version. This will work both with 19C and 23AI. So if you are wanting to work with some of these select AI packages, and maybe you're looking to build off of this, then use 23AI. However, if you've got experience developing on 19C, everything we're going to do today works in 19C. Choose your storage, compute auto scaling, advanced options. Should be able to leave these all default. Yep. Backup retention, choose what makes sense to you. Set your username as admin, set the administrator password. Choose your networking type, and then click create. And with the bottom advanced options, all of these can be left as is as well. So these do take a little bit to provision. So if you're doing this on your own, it'll take a couple minutes. That's why we're going to use the one that I already have spun up. So now the first thing we're going to do for this specific lab is we're going to look at database users. And we're going to be in database actions a lot. So if you want to ever just click database actions, you see here in administration, this is where we'll find database users. So right now we have a user called QTeam. So we see here QTeam has some granted roles. And so we see here it has data transform user and DW role in both granted and default. So if you wanted to make your own QTeam user, which is going to have a little bit less permissions, but we'll be able to do everything we needed to. QTeam, set a password, and then for granted roles, we have data transform user, granted and default, and then DW role. Or just default. And after we've filled out all of our criterion here, we will also enable REST Graph, MongoDB API, and WebAccess. You don't have to put Graph or OML. You can if you want to on the user. Fill out your password, click Create User, and you're ready to go. So now that we've got our user created, which currently not logged into, let's sign out. And so let's get back in. See here, we have a SQL sheet. So now the next thing we're going to do is start with our data loading. So here we are as QTeam. We're going to go to Data Studio. We're going to click Data Load. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at loading data from local data. So very simple. Click Local File. You click the little folder icon. And you upload what you need to. So here I uploaded countries, devices, days, months, and we see here we have parentheses days and parentheses months. So data load is a little bit intelligent and it does try and make things a little easier for you. So what it has done is it sees that the days months workbook is comprised of 2 sheets. And so what it's done is it's taken each individual sheet and imported them as separate tables into our database. So now we're going to click start. And this will take a couple seconds. See here, these are all queued. So we can see here finalizing, finalizing, post action, complete, 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 complete. So it took a couple seconds. And our data is now going to be in our autonomous database. So the next thing we will take a look at is using buckets and creating connections. So when we clicked load data last time, we loaded through a local file. Now we're going to load through a cloud store. So we'll go to storage, go to buckets, and we see here we have a handful of buckets. When you're looking to get your details, you can click view object details. And what you want to do is you want to get the URL path, the URI here. And we'll click here and go till the O, copy it, and now in data load, we'll go here, click connections, and we'll click create new cloud store location. Uh, so select credential, bucket URI. So what we will need to do is we would need to create a pre-authenticated request because this is a private bucket. I'll quickly just go to my buckets and use a public one. Same deal, grab object details. Bucket, next, best sales 2010. And I do have another bucket, which if you're following along with the lab guide, there will be a link to, which is going to be using the movie stream data. So I will create another new cloud store location, movie stream landing, demo connection, movie stream, connection or bucket, containing movie stream data, public bucket, next. So we see here, it's got a lot of data and we're going to create. So demo connection movie stream. Okay, looks good. Now we're going to go to load data instead of local file. We'll click cloud store. We'll click this. We see here, these are our cloud locations. We don't see our new one. Let's quickly refresh it. And now we see demo connection movie stream. And we see all of those data sets that we saw in the preview. So what we'll now do is we will move over some of this data. So since all of these just have one folder in them, we can just drag the folders over. If it has multiple, open up the folder and drag the individual files. So this is a table. Okay, and so now if we want to, we can hit review real quick. So we see here, we can look at what our different columns are, what the data types are, the length and precision, and all of the data we're working with today is relatively small. But if you are working with very, very large data sets, then if you are using auto for the precision, what this is going to do is it's going to have to scan these columns so it can figure out what the largest length that it would need for the precision is. And that's just adding on time to your loading. So for stuff like this, no big deal. It's going to save us like a second. So we'll just have it formatted nicer. But for bigger data sets, that is something to be aware of. So now we will start and we will load from the cloud store. Okay, everything appears to have loaded. Right, okay. So now we will look at linking data. So to do this, we are going to be using another another different bucket with some different data. So similar to what we did last time, we'll go to connections. We'll create a new Cloud Store location. So now we see here, we have a couple more folders. And so we'll go ahead and we'll click create. And this time we'll go to link data. So for the linked data, we will drag over cust sales. And we are going to have these put into a single external table. And so earlier, to refresh this, so we do see here that this cust sales table that we've loaded, we are now able to query in our database. And so this is an external table that we've created a link to and that we can query in real time. So another thing we can do when loading objects from Cloud Store is we can paste in links directly. So let's just click this. Do you wish to continue? Yes. So now we're going to load in customer contact issues, and what we're aiming to highlight here is some more of the different basically pre-processing features. So when you're loading data with the data loading tool, what's going to happen is it will be able to basically read the data for you and give you some insights as to some potential errors or problems it might see. So we're going to start loading the customer contact issues table. So we see here we have 4 rows rejected. Let's expand this out. So we see here we have rows rejected 4. Click the detail error log. Error processing these columns can unable to convert containing string value to a number. Let's see here, mismatched data types. Problem 4, occurrences. So somewhere in here we have numbers that are basically being represented as strings instead. So what we can do is we can simply reload, and because SQL is going to be basically aware of what's going on, we can use a recommended fix actually. And it'll reload the files and it will basically convert what are going to be numbers that are typed out. So if someone's, typed out 5 or something like that instead of putting the number there. And so we see here now that we have no errors and we can just load. And so we can see here that there's no rows that were rejected now. So the last piece we're going to go through is going to be how we can create a live feed. So that way, let's say we have a bucket that it's going to get some reports or it's going to get tables every week. And each time we get these tables into this bucket, we want them automatically uploaded to our database. So here we have a couple things we need to do. First off, you got to go to storage, got to go to buckets, and we've got to create a bucket. So make sure we click emit object events. That's how we allow this bucket to let the data loader know that it's getting new objects or new tables, new data. So let's create this. Let's go in. Let's create a pre-authenticated request for the bucket. This will expire in a week. Create the request. We'll copy it. I'm gonna post it in a notepad off to the side for myself so I don't lose it. Okay. Now we'll go back to the data load. So let me make sure that I upload some files so there will actually be something to read. Okay, so I've done a couple things. Had to take a quick pause there, upload some files to the bucket. And then secondly, we had to remake our pre-authenticated request. So when you're making your pre-authenticated request, it's very important to make sure that you have the enable object listing, which we did not have on this one. So we now have a new pre-authenticated request right here. So now we'll go back. We'll go to our cloud store location. Use public bucket. We'll put in our new pre-authenticated request. And we'll see here, we've got house sales. So we'll create, and then what we'll do now is we'll go to live feed. So folders, entire bucket, extensions, CSV. So we see here it's already previewing. We just made the connection. We did not move any data over. But because we've specified the extension CSV, it knows this is what it's going to have to move. Once again, we can look at the length, precision, all of the different data columns. Take a preview of what's going to be in the current live table feed. And so next we have two different things we can do. We can have notification-based live feed, which given that we created the bucket to emit the events, that's what we're going to want to do. But if you also want to just have routine pushes, you can use scheduling. So we're going to check enable for notification, uncheck enable for scheduling. If you do want to have a weekly push, that's something you can do. The notification is going to be based on whenever a new file is added and a notification is emitted. So we'll click create. We're in consumer group high. Copy the notification URL. And then I'm going to paste it onto my notepad on the side real quick. All right, cool. Got it down. So we see here, we have some live connection topics already. Go to create topic. Live underscore feed underscore topic lab. So create a subscription. HTTPS. And then we'll click create. And this is going to stay pending for like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm gonna pause until this is done. Okay, so here we are back again. So we have our topic, notification topic subscribed with the endpoint as our live feed connection we created right here. So now we're going to go to the event service, I'm gonna go to rules, I'm gonna create a rule. Event type, object storage, object is created, and then action type, notifications. So we're going to use the compartment that I have our topic in. And so we see a live feed topic lab. We create this rule, and there we are. Now we will have a notification that is sent by this event to our demo live lab connection feed whenever we upload a new object into the bucket. So with that, that is going to conclude our lab today. I know some people following along may have used Terraform configurations. Some people following along might have used a pre-existing autonomous database, or they might have made a new autonomous database using the always free. Depending on what you did, there's going to be different ways to clean up your data. Something that remains the same is you can use the drop table command to drop any of the tables that you have in SQL. So drop table days. So table days is dropped. We refresh, we see it's no longer there. So you can do that for any of the tables you want. For the connections, you can just simply click delete on any of them if you no longer want to have connections to certain buckets. And that's how you can clean up your live feed. Same deal for the connections. That's how you can clean up your lab environments to make sure if you were using something that you need to restore to its prior form, you can do so. Right? So thank you everyone for listening, participating. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining for our Day 1 and Beyond hands-on session on Load the Autonomous Database with Data Studio. Thanks for joining.